Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer or a food maker selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast.
I'm Kat Fields-White.
And I'm Bridget Myers. We're longtime farmers market managers, educators, and consultants. Today, we're going to talk about what's coming up at this year's InTents conference, starting just 3 weeks from today.
Well, I heard this microphone if I scream really loud.
Cover your ears, everybody.
Ooh. Today's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is supported by InTents, the 8th annual multinational farmers market conference, starting 3 weeks from today. Just a second, I gotta scream. Be right back. Starting 3 weeks from today in San Diego and live online. You can still register to join us in San Diego or online with other virtual attendees to gain all the valuable insights on making your market less stressful and more financially stable. All in-person and virtual attendees receive access to conference recordings after the event. So even if you can't make the trip or be glued to your computer for 3 full days, and they are full days, it's worth it to click the register button today on the homepage at farmersmarketpros.com and reserve your ticket now.
Welcome back to Tent Talk. Can you believe that this will be the 8th annual InTents conference?
That's crazy, right?
8 years.
8 years. It flew by.
8 short years ago, Kat said, I want to do a conference.
That was it. That was so funny. It was like in late November.
Yeah.
We're like, let's do a conference in, I don't know, what would be a good time? March?
And this is, mind you, when we were running like 5 weekly farmers markets. Right. And we were so busy. I was like, get out of here. But
we did it anyway.
We did it anyways. That first conference was fun. It was just kind of like patched together.
Yeah, patched together, but it was good.
Our friends came. Yeah.
It was something really different. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, nobody else does this, right? I said, well, you know, there's state associations now that do little conferences. Usually they're only a day. Sometimes they're a couple if they combine with like their growers association in the state, something like that. And then they'll stretch to multiple days. But usually they're kind of short and they're very local. And I mean, one of the reasons I started this conference was because a lot of those conferences are based on the ag side, like extensions, farm extension groups and universities and things. And so it's really, they tend to be more about growing. So, you know, how to do an irrigation system or how to convert from conventional to organic, all good things. But we wanted to teach people how to sell stuff after they grew it. But there are some associations now that have farmers market conferences that are a little more focused on farmers market things. Washington State actually does a really good one with a good farmers market boot camp. I am speaking actually at the Ohio Farmers Market Network conference in April. So I'll be there.
Amazing.
Keynote.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Talking about things. And Virginia has a good one. So there's some state conferences that are good, but I don't think still to this day there's anybody doing a national farmers market conference except us.
Yeah, I think a lot of like your great ideas come from just you want something for yourself. So then, and if no one's doing it, you just do it. Like that's how the market got started in Little Italy. Kat just like lived there and she's like, oh, I want some groceries. There's no grocery store around here or market. I'll just start a market.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now it's the biggest market in San Diego County.
Don't you think all the big ideas in the world come from just some self-serving instinct? Like, don't you think Jeff Bezos just wanted to get a book without having to drive to the bookstore?
Absolutely.
you know it happened.
That's what Maya said. She just wanted a vegan cookie that tasted good.
Exactly.
Now look at her.
She's a cookie empire now. Yeah.
Oh, that is true. It's great. I mean, good for you. And then it was national. And then it was international, and now it's multi-internet. What are we calling it?
Multinational, because we get a lot of Canadians.
Yes.
Get a couple of people from Mexico, not too many. We get online, we get a lot of folks from Rotterdam, Amsterdam, Australia.
That's right.
The UK.
They had to tune in the middle of the night.
That's right. Yeah. Time zones are a trick, folks.
Yeah.
But they do. They come from all over. And then I've been, because of the InTents conference and the podcast, I get invited to speak at a lot of those places, which is cool. So we're kind of taking it on the road. Maybe one day we'll actually do a conference offshore.
This was your other thing. You were like, no one's inviting me to travel around the world all the time. What can I do? Oh, I'll start a conference and have people come from out of the state or out of the country, so then I have to go to theirs. Great.
Yeah.
Solve that problem.
Right? See? Again,
yes.
Self-serving.
Multi-galaxy farmers market conference.
It is. It is cool. I love that we're still live because so many, we were only one of those 8 years was virtual.
Yeah.
Fully virtual. 2021. Gotta love it. We somehow slipped under the wire in the 2020 conference we had because I can't even remember why, but for some reason we were really early that year. So we were the first week of February.
Remember it was Super Bowl Sunday.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. We had a huge fundraiser the Sunday night. Oh, for American Farmland Trust. Sorry, John.
Sorry.
And it was Super Bowl.
Because none of us.
Where is everybody?
Justine and Kat and I. It didn't occur to us until the last
clueless.
minute. Yeah.
Oh, well. So there's that one.
Mm-hmm.
But then we were virtual in 21, and then we came back hybrid in 22. And even though it'd be a lot easier to just do one or the other, people do like the hybrid. Some people like to come. Some people just can't get away and like to listen online. So that we've stuck with that. There was somebody that just emailed Erin. She was telling me. And they said, why should I come all the way across the country to this shindig? Is it really worth it, or should I stay over here? And I think he's from Baltimore, somewhere on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
She said, well, it'd be a lot easier for us, too, to just do it virtually, but it's a lot more fun to do it in person. So we'll see if he shows up.
Yeah, it's nice to have the choice, too, because I think we're getting a really good following of folks that attend every single year because we have the option, because some years you're available and you can come be in person, and then some years it's just... You just can't. It's just not a good time for you to be in person, so you can still be a part of the conference and not really lose that momentum, not lose that sense of community, because online you're all hearing the same things that we're hearing, and you're still part of that conference community, so it kind of keeps it up year after year. So I think that's helpful.
I do think it's been smart that for our virtual attendees, we've had a dedicated person. We started with Hannah.
Yep.
We had Sina last year. Sina's back this year. So if you had a good time with Sina last year.
Whoop, how could you not have a good time with Sina, first of all?
She is a good time person.
She is just great.
She is. So she's back. So it's somebody that's just dedicated to our online attendees. Keeps them involved, lets them know if there's anything happening in the room that they're not seeing on the live feed. She takes questions from our virtual folks and throws them to the speakers. So when it's Q&A time, they really get to participate. We're going to talk about this speed dating session here. Well, let's do that right now.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work for the virtual folks, but I have absolute confidence that between Kara May Woolidge from Napa and Robbie Mixon from the Alaska Farmers Market Association, who are facilitating our speed dating session, and Sina, they will figure out how those folks online are able to accomplish the same thing.
Everyone online is going to feel very much a part of this, and I feel like you should clarify what we mean by speed dating.
Okay, so speed dating, we're doing quote-unquote dating, speed dating. So Kara May and Robbie's friendship was formed at our conference and then another conference that all of us went to. And they have been best buddies since. And we have other folks that have been coming to the InTents conference for 2 or 3 years who have become really, really fast friends, like Sina and Christy keep in touch with each other, and Jessica, and I can't remember who she's best buds with. But anyway, there's a whole group of folks that she hangs out with Christy too. When I say hang out, I mean they text each other and they comment on each other's Instagram posts and they keep in touch. But it's because they met at the conference. And you know how when you go to summer camp, you get kind of bonded and it's like being a sorority person and you keep in touch with those people forever. And that seems to be what's happening for people that keep coming back to the conference. So Kara May and Robbie had the idea that to get those shy folk out and to help people figure out who their camp buddy or sometimes it's a mentor-mentee thing. I know that we've had people that have kept in touch with Mandy from Green City Market in Chicago. Just because she gave them some tips and things at the conference, and then they've kept in touch all this time. So maybe it's a mentor-mentee thing. Maybe it's camp buddy. Maybe it's just your market bestie to unload on when you're having a rough day, when those buskers are getting to you.
Oh, boy. Give me your phone number.
Right, quick. So they're going to make it easier. So we're going to do, if you've ever seen speed dating, long tables where you talk to somebody for, they're going to tell me how long, but I would imagine just a few minutes. And then you move on to the next chair and everybody rotates. And so you get a chance to just trade hellos and, hey, where do you work? And what do you do? And, what are you listening to? What are you reading? I'm not sure what kind of prompts they're going to use, but it will give you a chance to kind of connect with people quickly and decide who you might want to follow up with. We're doing this Monday, kind of early in the conference, so you can see who you might want to talk to a little bit longer at lunch and at the reception that night. And they're hoping everybody goes home with a market bestie.
I love this idea.
I do too.
I feel like we see so many connections that happen at the conference, but then also we always get a little bit of feedback, either like folks will come up to me, pull me to the side during the conference, or we get feedback afterwards where it was like, oh, they just felt shy or they weren't sure who they should talk to. Like, is this person in the same position it as me because it's like we have market managers and people that own their own market companies and people that work on boards or they're volunteers. So it's kind of a mix. So some people feel a little bit like they didn't make a really strong connection. And so we've taken all of that feedback really to heart. And I know Kara May and Robbie are just going to do a really amazing job at this. And they're great at like seeing a problem and fixing it. And so I think this is a good way to kind of remedy that for folks that come out and maybe are a little shy or don't feel like they find a camp bestie. And it doesn't even have to be your bestie, but just find someone to connect with while you're at the market, at the conference, and then, take it from there. So I think this will be great to kind of break that ice. I'm excited.
I am too. Yeah. That's actually one of the sessions I'm most excited about.
And folks online, I'm sure will figure out a way to also get everyone connected online because I also think people who tune in online in the past have made those connections.
They have.
They've never been in person and they're still very connected to folks that have been to the conference with them virtually, or they connect to somebody who's there in person because they just figure out that they both saw the same content and they talk about it through our Facebook community or, wherever. So yeah, that's really helpful. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, they came to me with this idea and I was like, ooh, you go. This sounds like the most fun ever.
Yes.
What else are we looking forward to? Monday's going to kick off with a big group of sessions and then a roundtable hive mind session on how do we define a farmer's market. So that's always a topic of conversation. World Farmers Market Coalition kind of broke it down into word by word not too long ago. Farmers Market Coalition talks about it a lot. We talk about it a lot. Who should be calling themselves a farmer's market? And I've talked about this before. I've kind of evolved in my thinking that farmers markets, yes, they are still the holy grail, but also there's a huge place for local markets, community markets that might not be heavy on farmers at first, but that bring people together, encourage entrepreneurship, get people in a community used to shopping local. And then sometimes as that evolves, the farmers come in. We're going to talk about whether mobile markets and online markets and food hubs that are aggregating things, all good things. Should they be calling themselves farmers markets? I do got to say I cringe when I see somebody say online farmers market. It's like, well, part of the definition in my mind, I don't want to do any spoiler alerts here, but part of it in my mind is a farmer's market. One of the things about that is that you're forming those face-to-face relationships with farmers, and unless they're on the truck, that is not a mobile farmer's market.
I think that's not a spoiler alert. If you've been listening to Tent Talk for any amount of time, you know how strongly Kat feels about the phrase farmer's markets. But I think that's true. And then also it's great to talk about these things and see these presentations and have this content and be able to be with other market folks to discuss this because your perception and perspective can change and evolve. And what's happening with the food system in general and what's happening with farmers markets in general and how accessible are farmers and what's happening with the farmers in your area. So kind of keeping that discussion open and keeping that definition fluid.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's fun that we're starting off with Hive Mind. This first session is it's one big session that goes from 8 to 10. And there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
And if anybody had been monitoring me as I was doing this schedule, if Justine were still here, she'd be saying that is too much stuff to do in the first 2 hours. But no. I think we can do it.
Okay, I do. Okay, listen, this is a PSA. I'm going to print this out on a sign and hang it at the conference so everyone understands. Justine moved on from Farmers Market Pros last year, okay? And sweet, sweet Justine just had her first little baby girl also, little Miss Maisie. So she's a new mom. So exciting. Justine was a mother to Kat and I for the conference saying, I don't think so, girls. That's not going to work. This is how logistics work.
It's too much.
That's too much. And then Kat and I were a team, and then I've taken over the market, and I've kind of backed out of the conference prep pretty much all the way. I'm keeping a half an eye on Kat and being like, what are you doing over there? But Kat has been we've let Kat loose with this conference, which
out
is
of control.
You know what, everybody? It's going to be a good time. But let's put our expectations in a box.
You're going to go home tired, baby.
She has a great team working with her, which is amazing. A lot of familiar people that everyone at the conference is going to recognize. But I would like to state for the record that Justine's not helping this year, and I have not helped very much. So whether you like it, you can praise Kat, and whether you think something's too crazy, that's also Kat's fault.
Yep.
Okay?
That's true. I'll own that. I'll own it.
You'll own it.
You're going to love it.
Yes.
You're going to love it.
I'm excited for everything we're going to do.
And as I say, you're going to go home tired. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
So then we got our speed dating. Monday afternoon, we've got some folks from Alberta, Canada. We've got a few Canadian speakers this year. It's kind of cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
I really learn a lot when I talk to them. Just they're really smart and they seem to have it like dialed in. So
They do.
I'm always excited for the content.
And their markets run, I mean, if you go to markets in Canada, they look pretty much like ours. You know, they run very similarly. Their laws and regulations are no more different from us than our California regulations are different from Ohio's.
Yep.
So it's all very familiar. They've got great ideas. We get to listen to some Canadian accents.
Love it.
Can't hate that.
The produce.
So, the produce, that's right. So the Millerville Farmers Market team is going to tell us about turning challenges into opportunities. We're all good at that. Jess Mullen from Travelers Rest in South Carolina is going to talk about sponsorships. You cannot believe how much money this woman has raised at a relatively small market. So she's going to talk about how that works for all different kinds of sizes of markets. And then we don't actually have a ton of repeat speakers this year, but Sadrina Jalal will be back, and she's going to be talking about going beyond the anti-racist toolkit and giving us some case studies about 3 farmers markets that have really moved into creating a space of belonging.
I love that.
Yes.
And yeah, I think from year to year, we like to bring back speakers that are really popular, but also want to give other folks an opportunity and give the attendees an opportunity to hear from different folks. But we do often bring back a handful of speakers, and Sadrina just always does such a wonderful job. I learned so much listening to her speak. So I'm excited about her presentation.
We got so many, we put out an RFP every year, usually around July, end of July. It's supposed to close in September. It was a busy, crazy year. Some crazy stuff happened. And so we extended that a couple times. We didn't actually close the RFP until early November, but we got so many proposals. I mean, some of them were so good. I was so sad that even I knew better than to think I could include any more sessions than we have this year.
This is a 10-day conference now, everybody, okay?
Even without Justine and Bridget keeping an eye on me, I knew we had enough. I couldn't go any farther. And so there were some hard decisions because some of those proposals were amazing. And we will definitely either get those folks onto the podcast or we'll see them in 2025 at the conference.
It's like being a market manager where you get a ton of really amazing applications and maybe you run out of room to put everybody in, but it's like, ooh, you wish you could have everybody in there.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Yeah, putting together a conference is very much like putting together a market, actually. Tuesday morning, we're going to really deep dive into, in fact, all day Tuesday. No, most of the day on Tuesday, we're going to talk a lot about the people in the farmers markets, not as much the vendors as the actual people running the farmers markets. So we've got a big section from Vermont Law School in the morning on employment law and markets. If you are calling your market manager an independent contractor, they'll tell you whether or not you're about to get in trouble by what they do, when they do it, where they do it.
This is a session where everyone just stands there very silently with their eyes very wide, and we all start to cry a little bit because we're scared. But this is very important information that we all need to pay attention to.
Critically important stuff. Yep. Do you remember the year when we had the employment lawyers and then they were followed by the insurance dude?
Oh my gosh.
The liability insurance guy. And everyone was like, whew, not managing markets anymore. I'm going to be a skater.
Yeah. We all kind of were looking on LinkedIn for job postings at lunch that day.
I'm way too exposed. Way too much. Anyway.
But I learned so much, and I always very much do. When we hear from all this boring, critically important stuff.
Yeah. I think these guys are going to make it lively. There's 3 of them on that panel. They've got some interactive stuff that we're going to make us do during the session. So I think that's going to be cool. Farmers Market University. I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's kind of our big reveal. We got a lot going on with Farmers Market University, and they'll be here to talk about that.
Very excited.
Yes, very excited. Actually kept me from having to do some things that I keep talking about doing, and found somebody who was already doing it that I could partner with. Very excited about this whole thing. So that'll be coming up. And then we're going to talk about how to make sure that you're getting paid what you're worth. And hear some stories from some folks that have been struggling with that this year. We've seen a lot of executive directors moving on or being replaced. A lot of questions from boards and organizations about what should we be paying these folks, and if we paid them a little bit more or gave them different benefits or structured these jobs differently, could we keep them? This is a really deep topic. It's going to be very personal. We've got some folks on the panel that have been through kind of weird negotiations and things this year, and they're going to give you some good tips on how to establish your value and negotiate for proper compensation for doing what we do. Our job is weird, but it's also hard. And it takes a clever rabbit to do it. And you need to just be able to prove how good you are and ask for what you're worth.
Our job is weird and our job is valuable.
It is.
I'm going to add that to our shirts.
Exactly. And then in the afternoon that day, we're going to break apart. We usually try to stay all in one room. And that, again, it's one of those things where I design things for what I like. And then hopefully the folks that like that kind of thing come along with us. We're actually going to split up. I usually like a conference where most things stay in the same space because I'm always frustrated. We go to this other big conference during the year where there's like 15 tracks happening at the same time. And I'm always so frustrated because I want to see all 4 of these or all 6 of that during that hour. And I can't.
Painful.
Only one person. So we try to keep everybody together. But we have had some input from attendees, and we realize ourselves, especially with people that keep coming back to the conference, that there's some stuff that's you don't need to know yet, maybe, because you're just not that far along. And then there's some basic stuff that you already know, so maybe you don't want to sit through that again. So we're splitting up for that block of time, and the experienced managers and the larger organizations are going to really deep dive into farmers market HR, into farmers markets being unionized. That's probably not something that's going to happen with you if you're in a small rural market or a newer market, but it's happening with big markets. And then go deeply into how to make sure you don't leave any money on the table when you're getting a big federal grant. So that's, again, kind of something that you're probably not tackling in your first few years. And then the other group is going to go to another room. These would be our newer market managers, maybe our smaller organizations, and kind of dig into the basics, how to find your dream team, how to find those folks that are going to help you lift the load, how to map your market. We've talked about the description on this with the speakers, and we said, we're going to teach you how to map your market to minimize drama and maximize sales. Now, who doesn't want to be in that session?
You have to say it 10 times fast, and then you can come sit down for that session.
We have 2 sessions like that.
Yeah.
That one, and then later, partnering for produce prescriptions. I'll just make them stand there and say it 5 times fast.
Sally sells seashells at the seashore?
Kind of like that. Yeah.
This is so important. I'm like, I want to go to both of these groups.
I do too.
Oh boy.
I believe that Leandra's going to cover us. Part of the trick about changing rooms is that we do a live feed of what's going on. I don't know if the second one's going to be able to be live or it's going to have to come in later that night, or I don't know exactly how we're going to work that out yet. We got a whole 3.5 weeks. We're still figuring some things out.
We'll tackle this tomorrow. It's fine.
That's right.
Plenty of time.
Anyway, at the very least, they'll both be recorded. So if you wanted to be in one block and you also wanted to be in the other block, you'll be able to watch the alternate one later. We're going to talk about human-based scheduling and have an interesting session on low-tech big data and how you collect numbers to get yourself ahead with marketing partners and grantors and your local economic development people, even if all you've got to accumulate data with is a pad and a pencil.
Love it. Yeah, that's fine. Tuesday evening, too.
Tuesday evening. We always have some fun on Tuesday evening.
Yep, that's a fun night. So we'll go to the Pacific Beach Tuesday Farmers Market, which was started by us many years ago and now is being operated by my mentee, my dear Art. So he runs that market, and it's a great farmers market. So I know that all the folks really have a good time going out and checking out an actual farmers market. It's really close to the conference site, so we just kind of grab rides or take an Uber or if you want to bike on over, you can take a short bike ride over there.
There's actually a bus route. I checked this out because we had a few people mention last year that they didn't get a car while they were in San Diego and they found it tricky. Maybe they aren't signed up for Uber. I guess we do get people from all over. There actually is a fairly simple bus that picks up very close to right out front of the Dana and goes over there.
Look at you. You live in Philly part-time and now you're just Miss Public Transit.
I am.
Okay. You'll take the bus. The San Diegans, we're not really quite there with the public
transportation. But in a group, don't you think it'd be fun? It'd be cool. I mean, when we all get on together, isn't that the definition of a party bus?
That's right. All right, everybody, mark the calendar. Tuesday after the session, we're taking the party bus.
Get ready, public Metro Transit system.
Everyone there is going to be like, what? Who are these crazy? We're like, we're farmers market managers.
We'll do one of those memes. We're farmers market managers. Of course we take the bus to the market.
So go check out the market, shop around. We still have those little market manager bingo cards. So if you want to play, that's always a lot of fun. And then after party,
we've got a couple of things going on. We're all going to, anybody who wants to can come up and watch the sunset from
Shore Club.
Mm-hmm. Yep, right on the beach.
Yep.
We may have another little alternative gathering at the same time at the beach. We'll have to watch that weather, and we've got a special guest that might join us and do a fun thing at the beach. So
you can always scatter around PB and find your spot. Shore Club's kind of like a divey bar, so I know that's not everybody's scene. So it's just where we
Not
go.
everybody's cup of beer.
Not everyone's cup of beer. So it's just where we end up because it has a space that's big enough to kind of gather all of us.
It faces the ocean.
It faces the ocean, so it's beautiful. We love the team there. They're awesome. So we kind of end up there, but we don't want to say, oh, you have to come to this dive bar if that's not where you want to go. So I know that we have kind of like
we have some
fractions
alternatives
that
this year.
kind of split off there. But you can find something fun to do in PB. Don't worry. It's a fun place.
So have a good time at the beach and out and around on Tuesday night, but don't stay up too late because we got a full day of sessions on Wednesday.
Yeah, Chris Quinlan, don't stay up too late, okay?
Yeah, if that
Talking to you.
if that dude from MarketWorks tries to haul you off into an adventure, don't trust him. Don't go on Tuesday night. You're going to have a headache on Wednesday and you're going to be drooping.
We'll have lots of coffee on Wednesday morning.
We will.
But I'm just kidding. Chris is always has the after
He's the best.
party.
Yeah.
So
follow that Hawaiian shirt.
I just love it. But yeah, Wednesday morning, you want to make sure you arrive to session on time because
we're actually starting that session at 8:20. We're going to, at 8 o'clock, we're going to have a little coffee with Kat thing. And so help ease people in because I feel like by Wednesday, people are a little draggy and that first thing in the morning takes a minute to
we're going to be even
together.
more exhausted than usual because Kat's in charge.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Hey, I just want folks to get their money's worth.
Yeah.
Right?
And you know what, everybody? Try being this person's daughter your whole life, okay? You'd be exhausted.
You're still
Just
tired.
exhausted.
You're tired,
yes,
aren't you?
Tired.
So Wednesday morning, I love the first session on Wednesday. We've got a market manager, executive director of an organization from New Brunswick, Canada. My sense is we're going to have not only a Canadian accent, but perhaps a little French accent in this one.
We love it.
Love that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, she's going to come tell us really nuts and bolts things, steps to take to achieve a zero waste market, which they have.
I love this because I feel like one of our most popular of all time sessions was Amber from the Portland Farmers Market. And that was years and years and years ago. She was just, I don't know if she talked about zero waste, but more
durable
like
dining.
Durable dining, yeah. And that was so great. Yeah.
Big waste reduction.
Yeah. And folks still talk about that session. I still think about it. So I know this is always something that's kind of evolving at farmers markets, no matter what stage of markets you're in. And so that's going to be great.
I just think it's so important. And also in a number of places, people are waking up and saying, hey, we got to get a handle on this. And so there are actual regulations being imposed. I mean, we've got them coming down the pike here in California where we've just started to have things enforced. And it's coming along where we've got to deal with the trash that we generate.
Yep.
So, and the food waste. So we're very excited to hear from her. We're going to have some marketing information there, simple solutions to 5 social media mistakes. I'm sure none of you are making any mistakes. We certainly don't. But who knows? I'm sure somebody is going to need this talk.
We would never.
We would never.
But I feel like that's that's something that we can talk about every single year because it's just evolving and the marketing sessions are always really valuable. I mean, everything is so valuable, but folks really want to hear about that stuff. So that's going to be great.
MIFMA, Michigan Farmers Market Association, is going to be with us to, again, the tongue twister, create produce prescription partnerships.
Did it.
I feel like that create needs to be replaced by something that starts with a P. I'll be working on that.
Produce prescription partnerships.
Perhaps that. Farmers Market Coalition is coming to us. We're not exactly sure what they're going to talk about. They told us they're going to do their session. I think what we're going to be focusing on is all of the different toolkits they have available and some quick case studies of how people have used those to achieve things at their markets.
Great.
And then I think, of course, they'll touch on what's new with the Farm Bill, which as of today is nothing because the Congress is going on recess and it's sort of been extended and all that, but maybe it'll be brighter in 3 weeks. We'll see.
Here's hoping.
Farmers Market Coalition will know. And then Hillary King, who is a tremendous researcher that has been working with the USDA and Emory University and community markets in Atlanta, Georgia. And she's studying what does local mean to you, how that term has been, we don't want to go negative on this, how that term's been co-opted, how it's been adopted by various groups in the food system. Should it be our highest priority? Do we need to see how it intersects with racism and means of production and human rights issues for farm workers and that kind of thing? This is going to be a deep one. We're going to send you home with a lot to think about. It's kind of getting to the end of the day. On Wednesday, we'll have our usual end of the day chit-chat. We usually spend about half an hour just kind of reflecting on some of the things that we've learned and asking general questions. We're going to do a little alphabet soup on FMPP and LMPP and value VAPGs. And most of that stuff comes from the USDA. So I'm going to do a little bit of that towards the end. And then you're going to go home tired and full of ideas and ready to change your world.
We'll have a contest, and if you can name what all of these groups that use acronyms stand for, you get to take home a plant or something at the conference.
That's something that we don't want to haul out.
Yeah, the last handful of Satsuma oranges.
Not the cow. Not the cow.
Not the cow.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. I think we've covered it pretty well, don't you?
I think so. I want to go to this conference.
Good thing.
This sounds fun.
I'd be very insulted if you're not there.
I guess I'll buy a ticket to this conference right now.
You're still helping.
Oh, boy. If I pay, you can't make me do a bunch of stuff. I'm just kidding.
You are not allowed to pay because we need you to do a few things. Not a bunch of stuff.
No.
A few things.
I'll be there in a mentor capacity.
An advisory role.
Advisory. I'm very excited. Very excited to see folks that I know that have been coming to the conference for years. And I'm also very excited to meet new folks that will be there. I am, folks like message me on Instagram quite often, which is wonderful. If you follow me, Motherbird Bridget, I'm tagged in a lot of Farmers Market Pro stuff. But managers will find me in, when I post signs about no one reading our no parking signs or like a new crop that came up at my market, just things I'm excited about at my job when I'm working. And so I get to have little discussions with them. And now I get to meet them in person, which is always really lovely. So,
also, there's some people in our private Facebook group that have been around in there for a couple, 2-3 years that are just now making it to the conference for the first time. So I'm excited to see some of those folks in real life.
For sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Very excited. Whether you're coming in person or you're going to join us online, we are just very excited to kind of fold you into this Farmers Market Pros community. And the conference is so great. It's so much work. And Kat's doing a great job and staying up every night and frazzle bonding with herself. But it's all very...
Did you order those frazzle bonding t-shirts? Because I'm pretty sure that's on the swag list.
Oh, yeah. I got to get the swag. So I think it's going to be a great time. And please get your ticket if you haven't already registered. Don't miss out. Don't have FOMO later.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, my dream is just a variation of that. If you have more than you need, build a longer table, not a higher wall. For me, I want to see all of y'all and our farmers and our vendors, everybody come together under one big tent. So thanks for listening today. And thank you to everyone who attends InTents, the Farmers Market Conference, for supporting all the work that we do at Farmers Market Pros to support farmers, vendors, and markets. Your conference registrations and online class and consulting purchases support production of the free content that we provide every week, year-round on Tempt Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, and in our private Facebook community. The 8th annual InTents, the multinational Farmers Market Conference, is coming up before we know it in San Diego and online, March 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2024. It's not quite too late to click the register button at farmersmarketpros.com. See you in 3 weeks.
Thanks for listening to Tent Talk today. Please leave us a review on your podcast app or wherever you listen to Tent Talk. Let us and others know how you're enjoying the podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Tent Talk. Connect with fellow farmers market folks in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros community. Follow us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros. And find online education and other resources on our website at farmersmarketpros.com. Tent Talk is brought to you by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Tent Talk is produced by Leandra Hayes with original music by David Mead. Tune in next week for another great episode.